Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing my thoughts and reaction to the latest episode which debuted just a few minutes ago on FX, The Strain. Excuse me. Excuse me. My goodness. Before I start going on and on about it, please be warned that this episode especially is going to have huge spoilers in it. If you're not caught up on The Strain by this episode or the last episode or just not at all, do not keep watching or listening to this episode review, as I will be going into giant spoilery details. It's a big one, guys. It was a big one. Alright, so you have been warned. Spoilers from here on out. That being said, this was a pretty bittersweet episode. It started off as kind of a downer, and what's interesting, it started off as a downer, and then it quickly became a pick-me-up, and I love that they did that, because normally with most TV shows it starts off as a pick-me-up and sometimes ends with a downer, where in this case, our opening scene, all of our characters are finally reunited. Fett and Quinlan make it back to New York with the nuclear head, and they're so excited to tell the professor all about it, and they find him infected with the white. And so we said goodbye to a fan favorite, a character who's been on since the pilot, since the premiere episode, almost 4 years ago. We said goodbye to Abraham Satrakian tonight. Unfortunately, they didn't give him the white. He knew he was beyond saving. He did use his final moments, his final breaths, to reveal his final plan to his allies, to his friends. And it was hard to say goodbye. Even Quinlan was reluctant to be the one who swung the sword, literally, because he handed him his silver cane. And Quinlan, I could see he didn't want to do it, and everybody was choking up. I was choking up. And with that, he chopped off Abraham's head, and that was it. That was the end of an era. I am very, very sad to see him go. He was one of my favorite characters. He was a total badass, and he had this dry, witty sense of humor, or not even humor, just sarcasm. And he was an awesome character with a great backstory and a great reason, a purpose for wanting to kill the Master. And I just fell in love with him within the first episode, of the series. And I thought this guy was going to make it to the very end, and I guess not. I don't know if this is how it happened in the graphic novels or not, but in the show, Abraham is gone. He is dead. But his legacy and his fight lives on through his friends and allies. And what I thought was so interesting about it, too, is that I wasn't surprised that Fett, Dutch, and Gus were all choked up he was gone. What caught me off guard was Quinlan. Quinlan, while he was giving his eulogy at the professor's funeral after they bury him, he starts to choke up and cry a little bit about how he was impressed by the very human spirit that drove Abraham, and just what an overall good person, what a good, strong man he was. Because his voice starts to break. And I'm trying not to cry either, but damn, man, that was hard to watch, seeing him go like that. I mean, I'm glad he went at the hands of a friend rather than an enemy, and at least he took out one truly nasty enemy before his time went up. At least we got to see him deliver an awesome kick-ass death scene to Icorus. At least if he didn't kill the Master, at least he could kill the second in command to the Master, Icorus. So at least we got that. But damn, man, this first part of this episode was hard to watch. But then it quickly became an awesome pick-me-up. Gus realized that they could no longer profit from this post-apocalyptic landscape, and he recruits the rest of his gang and Kareem's men as well. He convinces them to join the fight against the Strigoi. He said, no more selling guns. We're going to need all the guns we have to fight the Strigoi, to fight the Master. We're taking the fight to them. And that was awesome. And then they come up with this plan to start removing the human collaborators collaborators in order to weaken the Master. They come up with a plan. Let's go after Desai. Let's go after Sanjay Desai, the guy who's running the creepy breeder human slaughterhouse facility where F and Satrakian were held. They go in there and they're fully uniformed, they're disguised and everything, and then it turns into a freaking all-out assault. We see this awesome scene with Gus and Quinlan fighting side by side, you know, saving humans from the slaughter line, killing Strigoi, and Quinlan having that kick-ass fight scene with the mongrel, the masked, the muzzled Strigoi. That was badass. And then he saves Gus, and Gus saves him. And then one of Kareem's guys saves Gus from a Strigoi. That was kick-ass. And then they got all the humans out of there. And what was even more surprising is that Desai's second in command, this Murphy guy, or Murph, whatever his name was, his guard turns on him and refuses to shoot a woman in the back of the head and actually tackles his old boss to the ground, and they're in a struggle, but of course Desai shoots him. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I guess there were still good people left in the world. Not everybody was a collaborator. And they end up capturing Desai. And I love how Dutch stops him from getting away by stabbing him through the foot and making him suffer for a little bit. Oh, and I hope we see this bastard suffer in the final 2 episodes. Guys, there's only 2 episodes left of this season, and thus the series. 2 episodes left. Next week, and then the week after that will be the dreaded series finale. And now I'm especially worried with Zack coming into play, and the Master twisting and manipulating him into going against his own father. Because now F's judgment will be compromised, thus it'll compromise the overall plan that he and his allies could come up with. I will say this, I am relieved that they haven't started arguing and turning on each other right away. You know, we got a little bit of that earlier in the episode, but I think it was because from the heat of the moment and everybody was still reeling in grief and still in mourning for Satrakian. But at least they pulled their heads together, came up with an awesome assault plan, executed a kick-ass, badass assault on a horrible, disgusting place, freed all the prisoners, they took down all the Strigoi, and they captured their target. So it is setting us up for what I hope will be the most memorable, epic 2 episodes of this final season. Like I said, this was a bittersweet episode because it started off with a let me down and then a pick me up. I really hated saying goodbye to Satrakian, but if he had to go, then I'm glad he died at the hands of a friend rather than an enemy, because that would have sucked even more. And like I said, at least he got to kill Eichhorst, or he got to kill one truly nasty, evil motherfucker like Eichhorst in the previous episode. But you know what? Satrakian's spirit lives on through all of his friends and allies, and I think they're going to finish this fight for him. So do it for Satrakian, guys, and let's hope it works too, and that Zack doesn't mess everything up, okay? By the way, was it really creepy? Did it creep anybody else out when he's holding the maid servant girl, and he's like, oh, you're so hot. I mean, you're warm. And he holds her for, like, longer than... it was just, like, longer than necessary. It was just gross, man. Gross. Man, you know... I hope either Zack has got to redeem himself or they're going to have to kill him this season. I don't know. But anyway, let's hope for a next awesome 2 episodes. So don't forget, the final 2 episodes of The Strain premiere next Sunday. And then the Sunday after that will be the series finale on FX. Don't miss it. It's going to be great, I hope. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode review here on the EdWord. This was another awesome, bittersweet episode. R.I.P. Satrakian. You will always be remembered, of course, in the fans of all, in the hearts of all of us fans. Have a great rest of the night, guys. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, may the Force be with you.